Hi friends, how are we today? I am so excited to be chatting with you guys. If you guys have any questions during this, please pop them in the chat. There is like a Schwarzkopf expert who is going to be answering a bunch of the questions for me. But yeah, I'm so excited to be here. I want to chat with you. I got my fake friend here, and we're going to talk about the 6 new Vibrance colors. If you don't know, I'm a huge Vibrance gal. I love it, and one of the main reasons is because it's so versatile. You can blend gray with it, you can gloss with it, you can just do clear and have a beautiful like shine with it. There's so many great parts to it, and I love it. So let's just get right into it. The other thing I love about Vibrance is it's not super overwhelming. Like some demi lines are just insanely overwhelming. There's so many color choices. I think Vibrance has like 88 shades or something, which compared to other color lines is actually not a ton. So when they add something new, they really add it because something was actually missing, and this is a hole that they're trying to fill. So I do not feel these colors are super repetitive, and I love that about them. I'm just going to mention them really quick, just so you guys can see. 9.5-9, 10-91, 10-45, and then we've got 10-51, 10-57, and 9.5-24. So these are all level 9s and 10s. These are all going to be perfect for your blondes. Obviously at a level 9 and 10, we're not going to use these on anybody darker than that. They're not going to do much for that, but I want to go over each of them, what they look like, and like who I would maybe use them on. And I have tested my fake friend here with a couple of them, with all of them actually. So real quick, I did cut off a piece of her. This is my like makeshift swatch that I made. I did cut off a piece of her hair though before I colored. So we do have a control like starting section. Oh, she's losing a little bit of that. We're just gonna set that down right there. So let's just get right into it, friends, shall we? And now look, this doll head was clearly like a level 9 before we started. Tiny hint of yellow in there. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but there is some yellow in there. So this is it's a really good example for how these glosses work with that. Most of them are on the cooler side. There's like 1 or 2 that are, well, one's super warm and one is warm cool. So starting right over here, this is 10-42. So I'm going to review the numbers as I go along, just in case anyone isn't super familiar with the Schwarzkopf numbering system. So by the way, if you are coming from a letter color line that uses letters instead of numbers, and you're feeling overwhelmed, something really important that was brought up to me the other day was that, how do I say this properly? Like numbers are actually so much easier if you think about it because they're so universal. Like sometimes letters don't actually correspond to what they mean. Like 9B, for example. 9B in some lines is 9 blue, some lines B is beige. We don't really know. So like in the numbering system, we know that 1 means blue violet, 2 means blue, 3 means matte, which is green, 4 means muted gold, 5 means gold. Like, so it's so specific, like you never have to wonder, what does B mean in this line? What is like A mean? Sometimes in some lines, A means auburn. A lot of lines it means 9A, but in Schwarzkopf, you know that the numbering system is very universal. Like you can always identify the color. Anyway, I'll step off my soapbox now. Let's get back into these new shades. All right, 10-42. This is my guy right here. So level 10, and I'm gonna read exactly what they say. Beige Ash Soft Toner. Honestly, I ignore that and I use the numbers, but that can be kind of helpful. So a level 10, which means it's gonna be pretty sheer. -42 is muted gold. I call it muted gold, blue. So this one is awesome because it really, that -2, that blue is really helpful to like cool, but it's also not so intense as you can see. So let me get my gal really close here. Look at how like stunning and perfect that is. It's super, so level 10s I am obsessed with because the level 10s are just a little bit more translucent. Obviously they're at a level 10, but they still bring a lot of pigment and they can still control for warmth. Okay, so let me hold up my control swatch for you right here. So it's pretty subtle difference, but you can see the lighting's kind of making it a little weird, but in the section up here, I think it's easiest to see, cooled it way down. Honestly, like you could see a little bit of yellow in that swatch. So what I love about this is that muted gold, that -4, makes it so it doesn't go too crazy. Like that's the most prominent tone in this color. And then the 2 just follows it up to make sure that you cool down quite a bit. But that is so stunning. Now, if you have somebody that has really porous hair and you're nervous about it, my thing that I do is I add clear. Just it's an insurance policy. It'll keep it like a little bit more translucent. Just a good option. So love that one. Okay, moving right along here. Let's get into 10-51, which this one might be my favorite. One sec. Technical difficulties here with my fake friend. This one might be my favorite, and I'm going to tell you why. So I love, if you know anything about my whole existence, I love glossing blondes with something warm. I think it keeps them super bright, super reflective. It looks awesome. So this is 10-51. So 5 is gold, 1 is blue violet. So this is like my perfect combo of warm with a touch of cool to make sure it doesn't get too warm. Now prior, I was combining 10-5 and 9-5-1 a lot, which is 10 gold and level 9.5 blue. So I was really trying to already make this, and they came out with 10-51, and here we are. So look at how bright this is. Now this is not like a gigantic shift. Honestly, I wasn't mad at this, but there's a little bit less yellow in this, right? So it kind of controlled it just enough where there's still gold in it, so it keeps it really bright. And that -1, just make sure it's not over the top. Like make sure it tones out any extra yellow so it looks intentional and it doesn't look like you just didn't gloss it enough. So I am obsessed with this one. Look at it in comparison to that 10-4 too. Just checking the numbers down there. Make sure I'm not messing anything up. It's so subtle, but you can see 10-42's got much more coolness, and 10-51 is just a bit brighter. There's a time and a place for everything, but I am in love with those. Honestly, with those two, but this one is probably my favorite because still bright, but you got a little bit of that coolness in there to back it up. I'm just gonna clip these so that we don't get everything mixed up together. All right, let's keep twisting her around. We have got 9-5-9. Okay, so this one is gonna be amazing for, that's this one, by the way, 9-5-9. This one is so good. You can see, so -9 is, sorry, I was just had a moment where I was like, am I gonna say the right thing? -9 is violet. And so this one clearly has, you know, you can see the violet in there, but this one would be so good for somebody that has like a decent amount of yellow in there. Now, if they are still if they're a level 9, this is gonna do so much to help control that. If they're more like a level 7, this probably isn't gonna do much, to be honest. I'm a big fan of toning on level, yes, but if I have somebody that lifts to like a level 8 or like a level 7, you're not even gonna be able to touch it, but like a level 8, but the goal with them is to stay really bright. I actually like to tone with something like a level 9 to make sure that I don't tone them down too dark. So does that make sense? Basically, like if I have a level 8 and her goal is to be super bright and we're working her up towards that, if she, if I tone her with a level 8 and try and get all of that warmth out, I'll probably get it out, but she will look much more like a level 7 because cool tones absorb light. They always look darker. Warm tones reflect light. They always look lighter. So a good example, kind of what I just showed you too. Look at that 10-51 and look at up there with the 9-5-9. So previously they had, and they still do have 95-19, which the 95 series is a level 9.5, basically. So 95-19 was awesome, but it definitely, I mean, the -1 has a blue violet, so it wasn't as violet heavy. So this is great specifically for yellow, because we know that violet cancels out yellow, right? So this one is beautiful. Let's look at it up next to my control swatch. Definitely quite a bit of coolness. Once again, if you're like nervous about this or you're not sure how much violet you want to add to somebody, add clear. That's like always my backup plan. And if it's not enough, if the toner didn't do enough when you added the clear, I would say go back and gloss it again. But clear is always a good like backup plan if you know, if it's too, if you're nervous about it and the hair is super porous. Okay, so moving right along, 10-91. So this was 95-9. So this is a level 9.5 with only violet. So now we've got 10-91. So we've got violet, but we've also got a little bit of blue violet. Let me show you this box. Sometimes it's like, makes it click more if I can actually see the number written out. So 10-91, once again, a level 10. So it's super, like light and translucent and actually so beautiful. I'm gonna tilt her a little bit because I feel like with the lighting, the more accurate color is easier to see at her roots. It's more like concentrated. The ends on this gal are so wispy that sometimes it just looks a little, I don't know, can't really see the color that well. So this one's a little bit softer than that 95-9 because it's got blue and violet in there. It's not so violet heavy, and it's a level 10. So it's just a little bit more translucent, but still so nice to cool down. This one would be really good if you have somebody that's got like really light and they don't have a ton of yellow, but maybe they have like a little bit of darker yellow. So they've got like that blue will really help neutralize any orange that's in there. This one I would say is good for somebody that's like very, very pale blonde and has got yellow only. This one could be good for somebody a tiny bit more pigmented, like that lifted to more like orange yellow, but it's so pretty. It's still so soft. That's what I love about all these. But look at the comparison between these two. You could see up there pretty clearly. That one's got a bit more violet and that one's just a little bit softer. Even from down here, you can see this one's got a little bit more violet. This one's a bit softer. Okay, friends, we got two more. We're coming up on another favorite of mine. I think you're really gonna like this one, but let's talk about, just a moment. Let's talk about 95-24. So, love this one too. All right, so the -2 is blue and the -4 is muted gold. So this one still, you can see like that blue is bluing. I think this one, I have to be honest, went a little bit more dramatic than I've seen it in real life on this doll head. So let's do our control swatch. So it is very, very cool, but 2-4, like that -4, make sure there's a little bit of backup of something kind of warm. So -4 is muted gold or muted gold. I mean, this color is still beautiful, but this would be really good on somebody that does have a little bit of orange, maybe like orange yellow, because we're talking about a level 9 here. A little bit of orange yellow, but you still don't want it to be like super, super muted and ashy, you know? So let's hold it up next to the 10-91. You can see that the level 10 is like quite a bit lighter than this, which that's why it's so good to have options, because the level 10 is just going to be more translucent. That's the other thing. When in doubt, if you have somebody that's super porous, I would stick with your level 10 personally. And if that is too light, go back and gloss it again. I don't know. I'm like an anxious hairstylist overall. So my thing is, what can I do to ensure, like, what's my insurance policy? A lot of times, every time I gloss, it's doing glosses on damp hair, which I did all of these on damp hair, by the way. And damp hair just dilutes the product a little bit, makes it not quite as intense. And, you know, we're pretty much always glossing on damp hair because we're usually doing it after we do foils. So for me, it's damp hair. It's also adding clear. It's also just watching my glosses. Now, Vibrance is intended to be used for 5 to 20 minutes. That's, I think the package directions actually say that. That on there, but I'm pretty sure that the actual manufacturer recommended amount of time is 5 to 20 minutes. Now, personally, I'm more like a 7 to 12 minute gal myself. Are there times when I leave it for the full 20? For sure. However, it's not that I don't trust my formula, it's that I don't trust porous blonde hair. That's what it is. All right, now moving along to the last one, and this one might be my favorite. Now, just have an open mind here, friends. Okay, it looks quite intense up there. And it is. This is 10-57. So this is 10-gold copper. Okay, but let me tell you why I love this. How hard is it to get like a warm tone on your level 9 and 10 blondes? It is tough because they're so just porous. There's just no pigment left in them. And we have to lift them super high. So putting any warmth back in them is tough. This color, you guys, butter blonde, like hello, this looks so concentrated, which it could potentially, but a lot of people would not be solid global bleach. Like think about this on highlights where there's some dimension in there. So good. Also, if you don't want something as warm, mix this, like you could mix this would be beautiful mixed with like the 9.5-9 to give it a little coolness, or honestly the 10-9 one would be so pretty with this, to just like take that warmth down a notch if you don't want that. But look at how pretty this looks. Let's look at this compared to like the 10-42, which is quite cool. And you can see the brightness in this with this 5.7. Obviously this is not for everybody, but for those blondes that do want to be buttery, which we are, I feel like we're going back to a little bit of that. I've been doing hair for like 18 years. So when I started doing hair, I didn't know how to use toners, and everybody kind of wanted this like yellowy blonde, like buttery. I know it sounds crazy to anybody that's kind of new to the industry, but this color is gonna save you when you have a level 9-10 that wants something warm. Because usually what we do on a level 9-10, we get kind of nervous and we put in a little bit of gold in our formula. And what happens? It looks like absolutely nothing. It looks like you didn't do anything. On a level 9-10, that's porous, like we have to kind of treat it as if we're filling the hair and going back darker. And what do we always put in when we do that? We put like gold, coppers, something, whatever's missing in the hair, and that is gold and copper. So this one is going to be such a lifesaver. I also just want to look at it next to the 10-5 one, because this one's probably the next warmest. But like, look at the difference between the two. Obviously this one's got a lot more gold because it is a gold copper. So this one is still beautiful, but it's really wouldn't do it if your client was like, I want to be a little bit goldeny, a little bit really more like strawberry-ish. This one wouldn't probably cut it. That one is your pal for that. Or mix them together, that would probably be so beautiful. But if I were using this and I didn't want to get it so warm, but I wanted a little, I would use like 2 parts of this and then 1 part, maybe not even a full 1 part of 10-91. You guys, these colors I'm obsessed with. Now I want to talk to you really quick about how I mixed the formulas and what I used with them. I'm just going to take all these out so we'll do a little spin at the end and see all of them. So I used 6 volume gel developer. Let me tell you something. When I started using Vibrance, and this is one of my favorite things, it's so versatile. There are 3 developer choices, and that could feel like, oh, that's confusing. But the thing is, it's actually so great because it gives you options. So the 6 volume gel and the 6 volume lotion looks exactly like this bottle, but it says lotion on it instead of gel. It says it right there. Do the same exact thing. Same exact thing. The only difference is consistency choice. So you might like the lotion for something more like root melts where you really want it to stay in place. I personally really only use the lotion on low lights in foils. Like, I don't know, I'm a big gel gal. Honestly, I would probably use the gel for low lights as well. If you want to use the lotion, love you for that, that's great. And to each their own. But I have found that the gel is so blendy, like it does the blending for you. So I actually, if you have to pick one developer of Vibrance, this would be it for me. The 13 volume is wonderful, and that's more of a lotion consistency, and that is great for blending gray. That's great if you want like something to pop a little bit more, like a red to pop more, or something like that. But really, I only use 13 volume for gray blending. So I mixed all of these with 6 volume gel, and I mixed them all in a 1-to-1 ratio, which is how Vibrance gets mixed. And I applied this to damp hair. Now I let all of these sit for the full 20 because I did obviously want everything to be enough for you guys to see. But like, I'm sorry, Schwarzkopf nailed it with this one because they're all subtle, but they're all like slightly different. Just such good tools to have in your tool belt and have all the options for blending without still feeling overwhelmed. Like, I do feel like nothing really is overlapping with each other. Like, nothing does the same thing. So I'm gonna tell you my favorite one more time. Okay, it's very hard to pick a favorite, but I have done it for you guys. My favorite is the 1051 because this is basically, sorry, the gloss that I have been creating with that 951 and 955, and I put clear in it. So this is basically that at a level 10, so it's more translucent. And I just think like, I'm just so obsessed with it. It's bright. It doesn't have too much warmth in there. It's perfect. Like, I am gonna need a lot of 10-51. All right, friends, if you have any questions, I hope you dropped any questions in the question box below because I definitely have not been answering any. I'm sorry, I've been too in depth on my fake friend here. If you have any questions though, drop them below and the Schwarzkopf expert's going to answer them for you. Or Schwarzkopf is so good about getting back to DMs. If you guys have questions about any of these colors or anything, send them a DM and I bet you they will get back to you. You can also DM me. And thanks for watching, guys. This was so